everybody, and welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm alongside Pranav Bukya, staff writer, and Dave Feeney and Dave Witzig, head coaches of the boys and girls basketball team. It's opening week for the Ironmen. We're going to be previewing the season. Pranav, would you like to get started?
Yeah, but first we're going to alternate questions between head coaches. Let's get right to it.
Coach Witzig, you're coming off a Sweet 16 in March and a state runner-up a year ago. What are you doing in practice to hone in and prepare your guys for another year of success?
No, it's going to be a lot different this year. I've been very lucky to have 6'9" guys at our school for many years. And so the last 4 or 5 years, we focused on getting the ball to the 6'9" guys by the basket because they were really good basketball players. We don't have a 6'9" guy this year. We don't have a big, strong post player. So it's going to look different. So it's we've been preparing our offense to be a little bit different without a guy in the post.
Okay. Coach Feeney, the Iron have set a standard the last 4 years, winning 116 games and 4 regional titles, plus Intercity and State Farm Classic success. How will this roster kind of keep your program aligned with that standard?
Yeah, I think when you talk about the standard, it's just playing really, really hard and playing together, being ridiculously unselfish. This group will do those things. I don't know how we'll do coming right out of the gate because we have a lot of inexperience that we're going to have to do a good job as coaches is helping them along, helping them to relax, just be themselves. But I think by the end of the season, we're definitely going to meet that standard and be a really good basketball team.
All right. Coach Witzig, you talk about having guys in the paint, 6'9", Kobe Walker, Jaheim Weber for now 4 years now. With those guys off of Division I school, what changes offensively and defensively?
Yeah, we're going to our offense is going to be more spread out, so you won't see a guy sitting in the post asking for the ball. So hopefully we're going to see guys make a bunch of threes. We're going to see guys drive to the basket now. You have to score in the paint in high school basketball to win, and we're going to have to do it differently. It's going to have to be guys driving and cutting in there instead of throwing it to a guy who can make a good post move. So we've been working really hard on kind of some new offensive ideas. I think this is going to be one of the fastest offensive teams I've coached. We're kind of known for being slow and methodical because of our big guys, and so we have to really ramp up the pace this year.
Coach Feeney, kind of going off what you said in your last answer, you've got 8 seniors on a 13-man roster, but only 3 logged meaningful minutes last season. What did you build into the offseason to make sure that these less experienced seniors are ready for that live varsity speed?
Yeah, well, I think one thing is even going back to last season, them going against our kids last year was really, really good for them. One thing that we've kind of built into our program that I think is kind of unique in girls basketball, especially in the area, is kids kind of paying their dues and waiting their turn, so to speak. If you look around a lot of girls rosters, there's a lot of freshmen, ton of sophomores that get significant playing time. That's fairly rare in our program. We do have a couple sophomores in Jocelyn Schilb and Annie Oliver who will get some time for us this year. But I think by the time that some of our juniors and seniors get to log those meaningful minutes, they're kind of chomping at the bit to get their turn. I love the fact that some of them were frustrated last year because they thought they were ready. And so now it's their time to prove it, and they're hungry to do so.
Last year, you had Andrew Nauer and Jerome Bird leading the way in minutes, second and third behind Kobe Walker. With those ball handlers back, what does that unlock for your pace in late game situations?
That's huge. High school basketball, you need good guards. You need great guards to win and to go far march. And so we're fortunate to have our starting backcourt from last year's team back. So I think a lot of people are forgetting that are, two of our most experienced players. They have to handle the ball, and in our conference in 4A basketball, there's a lot of defensive pressure. So having those two guys, it's just huge. They need to lead. They play a lot of basketball. They've lifted a lot of weights to get ready for this. So we need those two guys to lead our team because the ball is going to be in their hands a lot. We have some other good guards coming up too, so I'm excited about our guard play. But those two guys with their experience, they were on the floor last year in the Sweet 16 game against Quincy when there was 4,000 Quincy fans there, and it was an incredible atmosphere. And so they know what it's like, and so we're going to need them to be one of the leaders of our team.
This year, Haley Michaels is your lone returning starter. Who should fans expect alongside Michaels in that starting lineup Saturday, and what roles are you counting on from the group?
I think we've got really a lot of kids that are going to be able to contribute this year, but I think you mentioned Haley. We're expecting big things from Haley, just like Coach Witzig just said about his guys. When you've been there in the heat of battle, you kind of have a calming influence on the rest of the team. And I think Haley definitely exhibits that type of leadership. Zoe Wilde, Sophia Mack, Ashton Wellborn, Lily Witzig, who knows this guy a little bit, Taylor Williams, Jocelyn Schild, Annie Oliver are just some of the kids. I mean, that's probably a majority of our minutes in that group, to be honest. But other kids are going to contribute. We've got some seniors that, are ready to come off the bench and do some big things. Izzy Beckler, Ella Michalak, Brittany Camp have all had great moments in practice. And still, I'm not mentioning a great shooter like Ava Turner. Like, we have some specialists that can do some things that then it's up to us as coaches to find the right minutes to get them so they can help our team.
You field injuries from 6'7" Jarrell Brown and 6'5" Chase Casson. What versatility do they provide on offense and defense, and how are you looking to deploy them in matchups?
Yeah, they do have some height and length. We don't have the 6'9" strong bruiser, but we do have a lot of length. We're not super wide and strong, but Chase did a great job rebounding for us last year. Jarrell had some great moments. He had 5 threes against Peoria High last year. So those guys came off the bench most of the year, and they're high-end players. They have a high ceiling. They can handle the ball. They can shoot the three. They can penetrate. They can pass. They can rebound. And so, yeah, those two guys are going to be counted on to do a lot of things because they're very highly skilled. That's why we need to spread the floor out and give them opportunities to do some things they can do well.
Compared to recent seasons, your top players are pretty undersized. What versatility to how does that shape your offensive spacing and your defensive approach, whether that's pressure, switching, or rebounding emphasis?
Yeah, rebounding is going to be huge for us. And quite honestly, it's a major concern heading into the season. It's something that we're going to have to really work on and be conscious of. We're always telling our kids it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. So we need some fight in us. We also need that same mentality defensively. We got to do a better job of containing the ball and keeping it in front this year. Last year, we would kind of funnel things toward Marco. Reyna last year solved a lot of problems for us, just being a great help defender. So we got to do a better job of just containing, keeping the ball in front, making kids take tough shots. And then, as you just said, we got to rebound the basketball. And then offensively, we kind of the same format we've been using. Even though we had some size, we've kind of been known for spreading the floor, getting the ball in the paint through penetration, not just through paint touches through the post, but also when we feed the post, turning our post player almost into a distributor and a guard, more so than just a finisher. So getting them to look to kick out. In girls basketball, so many teams collapse once you throw that ball in. We got to make sure we keep them honest. And one great thing we have going for us, we have a lot of kids that can put the ball in the basket from the perimeter. So when you can do that, you force teams to come out, and then they're more susceptible to being attacked inside.
You have another demanding schedule. You got East Peoria, Alton, Richwood, Zaniqua Valley, some of them very talented teams. How do these regular season tests shape you for February and March?
It's so fun. I mean, we are in a great spot geographically for the state, and since we're 4A, we are constantly looking for some great competitions in our non-conference schedule. We have a great basketball conference, boys basketball conference, and but we get to travel. You play 31 games, and I think 10 of them are conference games, so you have to come up with a lot of non-conference games, and it is so fun to travel around the state, play these different teams. We're looking forward to playing Alton. They're supposed to be one of the better teams from the South. We play East Peoria. They're supposed to be one of the better teams in Peoria area. We're going up north to the Wheaton tournament, and we play a bunch of suburb schools. And when you play suburb schools, it's a whole different kind of refereeing and ball games. And so it's really fun to be where we're at in the state so we can travel around and play these different teams. Play Cardinal Ritter on a Monday in February. One of the best teams in St. Louis is coming up to play us. So just really fun to play different teams. We're playing guys that are going to be playing college basketball. I turned on the TV the other night. Michigan's playing, and Merez Johnson is out there, and we played him, and so it's just fun to play those teams, and those are all great learning experiences to get you ready for March.
You won 9 straight against Normal West. How do you make sure that this group doesn't overlook a rival that you dominated in recent years, especially in an opener?
Every year is different. Our kids know that. This group, one thing that helps is Normal West kicked our butt this summer. So our kids know that Normal West is super talented, young, very athletic. Every year it's kind of its own thing. We've had a great run here over the past several years, and these kids are anxious to put their own kind of stamp on it. But they know that nothing's going to be nothing's going to be given to them. So I think that they have a chip on their shoulder. As I said earlier, when they've kind of waited their turn, so to speak, and they want to prove now that they can do it. But we know every team in the Intercity is going to pose a huge challenge no matter what's happened in the past.
Taking a look at boys in Intercity, what do you see the teams? What challenges might they pose?
Intercity is a very unique tournament. If you look at what other schools are doing, they're playing their Thanksgiving tournaments, and they play teams from all over the state, teams that they're not very familiar with, and they only play them one time, and that's it. But we're playing our arch rivals, who we know really well, who the guys who play pickup basketball with in the summer, and every game is going to be tough. I look back in the state year 2 years ago, Normal West, in that first game of the year, gave us one of our closest games of the year, one of our toughest games, and so you just never know. Talent is kind of thrown out the window, and everybody's kind of gunning for us since we're the biggest school in town. And it does. It poses a lot of challenges, and it's great, though. You really learn a lot about your team. You come running out of there at Wesleyan, there's 2,000, 3,000 fans there at the game number one, and people are hooting and hollering. So you really learn about your team. How are we going to be able to handle the bright lights now that the season started? And those are just great opportunities to learn and grow.
Going off my last question, West will have played 3 games before community has played 1.
Wow.
What advantages or disadvantages does that create for you? Like fresher legs versus just game experience? And how do you manage that in preparations this week?
It might just mean it was really bad scheduling on Coach Feeney's part. That's what that might mean. No, I think it's interesting because for years, you had 2 weeks, and then on that Monday, 2 weeks after practice started, you had games. And one thing that I really like is having some extra time to get our kids ready. And a couple of our kids were making runs in other sports, in volleyball and things. So now they've been with us. But that first game is still, your first game. So there's still going to be some jitters. There's still going to be some things that you're figuring out. Normal West will have already done that 3 times, as you mentioned. Part of that's because we have the bye on the opening night of Intercity. One disadvantage, as you said, could be, West is going to be playing their 4th game of the week. But also, and we've gotten to see them, so we will have some film on Normal West and they won't have anything on us. So as far as advantage, disadvantage, I don't think there's a whole lot to it. I think you just go out there and lace them up and play and kind of see what you've got. We approach Intercity, and we've done this every year. We've been fortunate enough to win it the last 4 years. But we kind of approach it like, hey, these are preseason games. We tell our kids it's glorified practice. These are scrimmages. Let's see what we have. Let's find ourselves. And I think taking that pressure off our kids has served us really well. And then just go out there and play. And then it's our job as coaches to adjust to what we see and to help our kids be as successful as they can.
You talk about winning Intercity and winning the State Farm Classic. Obviously, those are big goals you have every year. But how crucial is it to get these wins early on and give you a better playoff seed in one of the toughest subsectionals in the state?
That is a good point. I mean, it's not the most important tournaments, the 2 you mentioned. Conference is probably the most important, and then regionals. But you do play games to help your seed in March, and so every game does matter. And so we got it's really nice to start fast and do well. But this is my 27th Ironman basketball team. We've had years where we've gone 1-3 or 2-2 at Intercity and end up doing well in March. We've had years where we went 4-0 at Intercity and kind of fall short in March. So it's not a true indicator of how your season is going to be, but it is obviously much more fun to come out with a great start. But you just have to. It's such a grind. The season, it's so long, and we play 31 games, which is awesome. And so we just want to try to get better and better. But it's personal when you play these Intercity games too. So it adds a lot of uniqueness to it.
And one thing I think having some shared success earlier in the season where everybody gets to celebrate and feel good is good for morale. It's good for the team. It's a great way to start the season, build some confidence, get it off on the right foot.
Coach Feeney, could you walk us through? Could you walk us through the decision to add a male practice squad?
Yeah.
How has that sharpened your preparation heading into the opener?
Some of it goes back to your last question about other teams are playing this week. We're filming those sections with our male practice squad, and so we go in and break that down and kind of watch some moments with our team just as if that were a game. We mentioned rebounding earlier being a concern. If you don't box the guy out, he gets the board because he's bigger and more athletic. So we're just trying to do some things to kind of emphasize some key points that we think are going to be important for us. And over the course of 3 weeks of practice, it does possibly get a little monotonous, and we worry about our kids just going against each other all the time. It's actually something I've kind of stolen from watching Illinois State's practices, and I was kind of jealous because when they have a practice squad, they're just running their kids in repeatedly to focus on one thing. And so they're all on offense all the time, and the guys are on defense, and then they switch it. Whereas sometimes in practice, we're trying to coach a little bit of both, or we're having our kids play a defense that we don't really play because we're trying to work on zone offense or something. So it just allows us maybe some chance to kind of streamline our practice and make it more pointed so that we're giving all of our kids more reps and not necessarily taking away from, say, our top 8 or 9 because we're giving the 9 through 13 reps. Now everybody's getting reps because we have that practice squad to kind of serve us.
Well, this is Coach's Corner, the first edition with head boys basketball coach and head girls basketball coach. We'll be back here all winter. Good luck, coaches, this season in Intercity. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you guys.
Thank you.
For Coach's Corner, I'm Pranab Bhukia with Brady Phelps. Thanks for watching.